Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2015. You would write today's date such as this. If you add these three numbers together, 4 plus 14 is 18, plus 15 more is 33. You see, we are on our 133 numerology date for the month of April. And so far, it's only noon here on the West Coast. There's already some big headlines in. There might be more today before it's all said and done, but I want to go over the ones that have already come up because it just exposes this conspiracy of 33 all that much more, tying in yesterday's shooting, the death of Percy Sledge, and here, this Atlanta cheater teacher story. If you haven't heard already, 11 of 12 teachers are going to prison for cheating on behalf of their students for the mandatory testing that now goes on in public schools in the wake of the Bush administration and the No Child Left Behind legislation. If you're not familiar with how this works, Truth Seeker, let me briefly break it down for you what goes on with the testing. I used to work in a failing school in Seattle, so I am well aware of this, and I can explain to you what a joke this entire system is. So what happens is, if test scores are low enough, a school is deemed failing, and then it has a grace period to improve, or they begin to lose funding, which causes them to lose staff. So imagine a failing school in a probationary period where they lose funding, so then they lose staff, and then they're expected to improve with less resources. That's what happens, and if they don't improve, the school is shut down. And then what happens is these kids who were at that school now have to go to the next closest school, which brings that next closest school to a higher capacity, so now they're under less ideal teaching constraints. And oftentimes, these schools are already close to failing or in a probationary period. So you get this domino effect of destroying schools and communities that are already poor, underfunded, and lacking the proper resources, from well-equipped schools to even good parents. Like I said, I used to teach in one of these schools in South Seattle, where it's a cycle community. You know, the parents are in jail because there's no opportunity. The parents are MIA for whatever reason. Lots of immigrants. The room I taught in Seattle was considered the most diverse school in the United States at the time. There were about 30 different languages spoken in my classroom of 30 students. So imagine that. Imagine being a teacher under those circumstances, being graded against a system that's the same system that will be applied to the wealthy suburban neighborhood with the all-American students who are well versed in the English language. The classroom of the migrant students, the non-involved parents, and a whole bunch of other burdens is on the same grading scale as the wealthy, well-equipped school. This is how our current education system is. It's why it's a giant joke, a giant disaster. It's why all of you who are so awake because of Obama and are just so focused on Obama, it's why you too are a joke, because you guys are just still oblivious to everything that happened in the Bush years. This country was put on the disaster path in a super hardcore type of way under Bush. All Obama is an extension of what came before him. And all these presidents are an extension of what came before them. But it got really crazy under the Bush administration, as we well know, from 9/11 to No Child Left Behind to everything that happened. Environmental, IRS, everything. The whole country was rigged even more against the masses and more in favor of the rich elites. And almost nobody said a peep until Obama showed up. Isn't it funny what wakes people up? Anyway, this hoax of a story involves 11 teachers. They love their multiples of 11. It's in Atlanta on the 33rd parallel north, commonly abbreviated ATL, which has a simple English gematria of 33. The word teacher, this is a story about teachers, has a Pythagorean gematria of 33, just like the word varsity. And it's about cheaters, cheating teachers. The word cheater also is 33 gematria. And as we said before, today's date numerology, the day of the jail prison sentencing, is 33. What do you know? And here's our man in the costume. Remember, the word costume equals 96, just like uniform, just like Freemason. You know, these people, they think they're somebody because they're voted into their offices and their fake elections. They wear a costume every day. People have to stand for them. The word authority is 47. The word obey is 47. The word judge is 47. The word gavel is 47. It's no coincidence, truth seeker. This is how the Matrix, which is the world we live in, has been built around us. We need to break this matrix that's very breakable. It runs on us thinking we're powerless. So another story from today, which I just accidentally closed. We have the shooting yesterday in North Carolina. They found the shooter supposedly on a beach 550 miles from Goldsboro, where the shooting happened. Goldsboro equals 44, like the word kill. We talked about that in yesterday's video post. But look, they find him 550 miles away. Today's date numerology is 33. All these shooting hoaxes involve the number 33. His name is Kenneth Morgan Stansel. Stansel, with the S exception, is a 33 name. The full name together either has a gematria of 88 or 97. What do you know, truth seeker? Another shooting hoax, another 33, all by the numbers. The other big story today is the death of Percy Sledge, who sings the hit song from the year 66, When a Man Loves a Woman. Michael Bolton redid that song in 91, but the Percy Sledge version is the superior version by far. And in my honest opinion, it's my favorite song about a man confessing his love for a woman. I think it's a well-written song. And I like the voice of Percy Sledge. He's got an amazing voice. But if we look at the details of this song's release once upon a time and the death of Percy Sledge, it gets very creepy. And we find the exact same numbers that we found in the deaths of almost every single celebrity I've reported on this blog. So let's just begin with when the song released. It released in the year 66, and it's about a man's love for a woman. Woman is a word with 66 gematria, so what a year for a hit song about such a subject. In gematria, when you write out the word 33, it sums to 66, as I've done right here with Pythagorean gematria. Again, today's date numerology, the date he died, April 14th, 2015, has 33 numerology. This song released once upon a time, April 16th, 1966. So almost exactly 49 years ago. And the numerology of this date of release is 33. Single digit method. And with the larger method, 86. Another curious number. The song also even has an interesting gematria. When a man loves a woman, has a Pythagorean gematria of 75 and 84 with the S exception. If you look it up, Rolling Stone has this ranked as the 53rd best song of all time. We just saw the death of the man who sung Going Up to the Spirit in the Sky, which Rolling Stone had ranked as the 333rd best song of all time. But with regards to 53, it's another number of much importance and is being quoted very much as of late. The current president, Barack Hussein Obama, is he's 53 years old right now. He's 53 years old, and his birthday is August 4th. The name Obama also equals 84 in Jewish gematria. And look, here we have a song with a gematria of 84, ranked as the 53rd best all time, and then the death of a fellow African-American singer. We're seeing how a lot of these black and African-American celebrity deaths seem to be very much connected to Obama through these numbers. Several posts on this. So Percy Sledge, he died in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Today, supposedly. Baton Rouge has the gematria of 46, tied to Thelema. Louisiana has the gematria of 38 and 47 with the S exception. Put it together, it's 84 or 93. 93 is the number of Thelema, which we find connected to so many of these celebrity deaths, and another 84 as we just talked about. Also, Obama just days ago used that word hobgoblin, a word with gematria of 84, with all his already 84 connections. And then Percy Sledge, he is born on November 25th, 41. Date was 77 numerology. The name Percy Sledge with simple English gematria sums to 119, 119. Another number of much curiosity. So Percy Sledge had many numbers on him, including his hit song, and then today, the day he dies, is on a date with 33 numerology. What do you know? Think about who runs the recording industry. The Zionist Jews, the same people who practice this occult numerology and gematria and seem to code it all over all of their doings. One of their hit artists from the past, The Police, their album from 83, Synchronicity, the last song on that is about killing by the numbers. And then you look at all these examples that I bring up, and all these deaths seem to be killing by the numbers, according to the numbers that seem to be most important to these people's lives. You know? Some sad stuff, Truth Seeker. I'm quite convinced that Percy Sledge was murdered for just another occult ritual. And I suspect the people who do the murdering think it's justified because they're the people who made them famous and rich in the first place. I could see them justifying it that way, you know? Another 33 story on a 33 date. Blackwater's in the media. Their employees have been sentenced for the killing in New Source Square. Let's see what's so interesting about this. Again, today's date numerology is 33. Blackwater, this private military company, has a 33 gematria. They were first convicted in October, the only month with 33 gematria. They killed 17. The word kill with Pythagorean gematria is 17. It took place in New Source Square, which has this gematria of 66. We just talked about the connection to 33, 66. Well, the head of their company, Eric Prince, has a birthday of June 6, 6-6, a lot like 66. In World War II, it's known as D-Day or Doomsday. Another 33 gematria, how it all ties together. Almost makes me wonder if that story is a major exaggeration, maybe an even entire hoax. Also today, they're bringing back up Boko Haram kidnapping all these girls last year. Again, Boko Haram has the 39 gematria, very coded. With the simple English gematria, it sums to 84, like United States of America. Boko Haram's 84 with the larger method. And they're bringing it up today on the date with 33 numerology. Also today, and they started this last night, they're talking about the luggage looters. There were two stories about luggage people yesterday. One was in Seattle, where a man who works with the luggage fell asleep in the cargo pit, and the plane had to come back. And then the other one was in Miami, the other corner of the country, where men were caught on tape stealing deliberately from the suitcase, or from people's luggage and suitcases. And as I pointed out before, luggage is another one of these 33 words. And the reason I think that is because it's their trademark. You could say I've been a weirdo in a lot of regards my whole life because I've never liked travel. I've always thought travel was this really weird forced thing that we've accepted as a culture, kind of like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all the other bullshit we put up with. You know, I don't like being in a rush and going through security and touting around my bag and paying all this money to stay in a bed, you know, and then, it's just, I completely understand the concept of interacting with other cultures and seeing beautiful places in the world and exposing yourself to all this. And I'm all for all that, but I just hate the whole process that we have to go through for travel, so it kind of turns me off and it makes it not as appealing. So I've never wanted to be that much a part of it. And I know so many people, they spend the majority of their money traveling and on all this kind of stuff. But anyway, I've just always seen it as just part of the madness we go through. And so to find the coding here, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's kind of reassuring. It says, "Yeah, Zach, I think you've been seeing things right for a long time. We put ourselves through a lot of unnecessary madness." And I notice when I've been traveling with people in the past, a lot of stress comes out. I mean, people are just stressed out, and it's like, are they even having fun? It doesn't seem like they're having that much fun. It seems like they're all stressed out. But people put themselves through it, like mice on a wheel. And now, just think of all the people traveling today who take what they see in the media and then they worry that's going to happen to them. I know there's so many people like this, from my own mother to mostly women I know, my friends' mothers. There's just so many worrying women out there. And I'm sure so many today are on planes. They've seen this story, and now they're worried that somebody's going through their luggage, and they're going to be all paranoid. And then when they get home, they're going to look, and That's why they do this to us. They just keep our minds in constant clutter and disarray. And also, I want to look at this story here, Truth Seeker. This one just really disgusts me. CNN has a story up, "Why is Lynch nomination dragging?" And from my own lifetime, I remember the story of the black man in the South who was supposedly tied up, lynched, and drugged through city streets until his body became dismembered. That happened in the 90s, we were told. And that's, if you read fiction, go back through older news stories, this kind of stuff's been reported in history, from being drugged by horses to other automobiles to carriages. So this "why is Lynch nomination dragging" is very blatant. Remember, Lynch is the Attorney General to be for the 44th president. In U.S. history, when we think of the Lynch, we will likely, within a matter of seconds, think of, blatant racism from the past and black Americans being hung from trees and many other places. And if you look through history, who's really behind the hate and the racial division, the religious division, and all the things we divide ourselves over, it's these same group of Zionist thugs who have managed to stay in power and rule by deceit, lies, and treachery. This past weekend, I was talking to two men about my age, young 30s, from Saudi Arabia, and they were telling me how since World War I, the media has been used over there to purposefully divide everybody on religion, race, and everything else, just to make everybody hate each other over there. And when they were telling me that, it was just making me think about here in the United States, how much the same it is, and how right now in history we're going through one of these larger spikes with all the black on white and white on black headlines. So why is Lynch nomination dragging? This story comes out of Durham, North Carolina, the same place where the shooting hoax happened yesterday, and a lot of this other occult numerology. So Durham has the Pythagorean gematria of 29. North Carolina 67. Put it together 96, like Freemason, like Satanism, like knowledge. Again, the word lynch means to kill, especially by hanging, for an alleged offense with or without a legal trial. From our own media, in 1998, there was the story of James Byrd Jr., who was lynched and drugged through Jasper, Texas, until his body became dismembered. An absolutely disgusting story. And I remember hearing about this as a teenager and just thinking, how sick, how awful. Now that I look at this, I wonder if this is another story by the numbers for the sole purpose of provoking. I would like to think that that's the truth and this didn't really happen to somebody, because to think that it happened to somebody, it's just an awful thing to think about. That said, things this awful have happened to people in the past. And if you look at what's happening to us collectively as a people of the world, undergoing this kind of treatment on a daily basis, every day is even worse. I mean, it's global treachery. And for what? For whose gain? So anyway, this man who this was done to on June 7th, 1998, that's a date with 111 gematria or numerology. Anyway, James is a 12 name, Pythagorean. Bird is a 22 name. Junior, with this abbreviation, is written like this, is 10. So James Byrd Jr. sums to 44, the word for kill. Again, Obama's the 44th president. If you write it out Junior, so James Byrd Jr., it sums to 67, like the date he died on, June 7th, 6-7. The word satanic equals 67. This date, 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 98 equals 111, 111 numerology. Another number very much connected to Satanism. And the numerology of Jasper, Texas also fits this pattern of occult numerology that we see. Jasper is 33 with the S exception. And Jasper, Texas, the town has gematria of 39, Pythagorean. Numbers we find coded so much. These men were said to have connections with the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK. K is the 11th letter. 11 plus 11 plus 11 is 33. Just like the town it happened in. So, Truth Seeker, just let's keep our eyes open, see what happens with this Loretta Lynch thing. There's one more point I want to show you if I can bring it up real quick here. This is it. Her confirmation date, when the Senate first began the confirmation hearings, they began it on January 28, 2015, a date with 44 numerology. So just think about how sick this is, Truth Seeker. Lynch, 44th president. They start the process on a date with 44 numerology. It's still being drug out. That pretty much wraps up the headlines from today. If you want to listen to Percy Sledge sing his song, it's all over YouTube. There's the recorded version. There's live, more recent versions. If you've never heard it before, it's a good song. And it's really sad to think that this man might very well have been murdered today by the numbers. I'd like to think that I'm wrong in that regard, and he faked his death. Not that that would be good either, but man, ugh. It's just painful to, know that this is going on, and people who, their crime is that they sung a song for money, they're murdered for it. It's awful. I mean, imagine being murdered, Truth Seeker. I always put myself in other people's shoes, and I can't think of anything worse than being murdered. Ugh. People who do the murder. It's just awful. We have to expose this, Truth Seeker. We have to stop it. All right, until next time.